Lilly is up next, and Lilly is one of these talks that I've heard from like 3 or 4 people about. Lilly, I just got to say it. 4 different people mentioned your name to me, and it was like, you got to have her come to the conference and give a talk. So I'm very excited for this talk.
But I don't get the same intro as Harrison, so I'll never feel the same way.
You want it? We can run it again, and I could just say
No,
your
I'm okay.
name.
I'm okay. I lied. Let's go. Let's kick it off.
You're like, fuck it, we're already
Thank you so
over
much.
time. It's all good. Don't worry about it. No, I mean, no, you don't get that kind of intro. Maybe next year. I don't know what to tell you. That's all I can say.
You're right. I have to come back multiple years in order to like earn the right. I understand.
Exactly. So I'm excited for your talk. I'm going to kick it over to you, and then I'll be back in 10 minutes.
Okay, see you then.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to my talk called LLM Valley. It is a video game themed talk about the generative AI product market, specifically for venture capital. I get this question time and time again. People want to know, what's venture funding? What are they looking for when they write you that $5 million check or bigger, whatever? So I just want to give you guys a little bit of insight into that. And so throughout this allegory journey, we're going to meet some different players in the space, walk through a couple of examples, and we're going to come back in like 10 minutes. So this is going to go fast. So first off, basically, everybody wants to know what your business model is. This is like the first thing they're going to ask you. The 4 most common ones are B2B SaaS, B2C, which is business to consumer, open source, and foundation. So really high level overview, B2B SaaS is like literally every Y Combinator company. So if you're in if you're in Y Combinator, you're probably B2B. It's when businesses sell to other businesses. They get enterprise contracts, sales cycles are longer. People like that because you can technically make more money. We'll see. That's a technically. B2C is, you can think of any type of sort of single thing that you sell to an individual. So it could be like, I'm going to turn a regular photo into a professional headshot. You pay like $10, and then, they have some AI thing that does it for you. It's pretty much a one-off. It might be a freemium model. It could be specific like that, or like the use case is literally photo to like professional photo. But that's an example of something that's B2C. Open source, there's a couple of different ones. I think we just heard from LangChain actually. So that's a really great example of an open source business that started off as like, hey, this is a GitHub repo, and then excelled in popularity, managed to raise a pretty large venture round, if I can recall correctly, and is now, sky's the limit. And then, of course, the foundation models. Everyone knows these. This is OpenAI, Midjourney, Anthropic, Cohere. These are I'm partnering with Microsoft, AWS, the very big players of the world. So first off, B2B SaaS. Main challenge for these companies, if you're a startup right now in B2B SaaS, is that all of the incumbents are trying to add AI into their product somewhere. That doesn't mean you can't win. You totally can. I do want to talk about an example in healthcare where Epic EHR is sort of up against or let's say the startup Notable Health is actually up against Epic EHR. So Notable Health is trying to reimagine basically the way that AI is going to interface with our healthcare system. Epic EHR, you've probably used it. If you go to the doctors in America, you have probably been added to it. It's called MyChart, is actually the name of the platform. It's how you make appointments with your doctors, how you might get refills. It's how you chat with your doctors, your providers. All the notes are sort of taken care of in that realm. So Notable Health has, a pretty good hypothesis that type of interface is not the most efficient. If you're on the older side, maybe you have difficulty navigating it, whatever. There's a lot of reasons why AI can make it better to interface with the healthcare system. So that's the challenge. The problem is that Epic EHR is the largest healthcare, health software system, I think, in the United States. They basically like have a monopoly on like hospital EHRs. It's pretty difficult to compete with them. And I think they have a partnership with Microsoft. So it's a little bit of a toss-up. But I will give it to Notable Health is that they could probably reimagine fundamentally what that experience looks like in a way that Epic cannot. So Epic is obligated to these hospitals, right? To like these people who are millions of people who are actively using their platform. They cannot iterate quickly. They cannot just overnight change the UI to imagine what that should look like. Notable Health can. They can do that. So, when we look at these startups, their opportunity to win is definitely really fast iteration speed, ground up design. On the other hand, incumbents usually have way more resources. They have partnerships with these big foundation models, so they're probably getting discounts on stuff. It's a tough battle, but that's B2B SaaS in a nutshell for fundraising. Okay, B2C. What I have seen is that most venture capitalists are not willing to fund a true B2C play. It's just really, really hard to get significant traction without huge churn. That's basically the problem that people are running into. On the other hand, and this is my disclaimer, it has never been easier to spin up an AI B2C product. Like that headshot example I gave. I mean, you could theoretically build that in a weekend. If that's a tech stack that you are familiar with, where you could, spin it up in React, you're going to use, you're familiar with an image generator API that you like to use, and you got some good prompting. Like that is something that in the past you could not just do in a weekend. But today, with the APIs that we have available, it's totally possible. Just my disclaimer is that what I've seen is that most venture capitals will not fund this. But if you're a bootstrap developer, power to you. I've seen some stuff on Twitter. I have no clue how much I believe it, but I've seen people on Twitter claim that they are like making 100K MRR for like these random B2C ideas like interior design, headshots. I've seen a couple of others like in that like very random single use category. So you have it. Okay. Open source. You want to know what open source projects are? Just go to GitHub, go to trending repos. I bet the top 3 are probably AI or LLM related. And like I said, LangChain is, I think, the best example of an open source company that just started off as a GitHub project and is now very legitimately a company. They raised a $10 million seed from Benchmark, which is a really great venture firm. And I'm sure they're now working on monetization. So open source is a great way to see if your idea has any traction. Like, are developers willing to build on it? If developers are, usually that means your technology is pretty sticky and users will love it. So it's not a bad strategy, right? Like you're doing it because theoretically you love it. You made a project, you put it out into the world. And then, it's a kind of a low risk way too for venture capitals to be like, oh yeah, it's got a bajillion stars on GitHub. Let me write you a $1 check for all of your stars on GitHub. And then last category we have is the foundation models. You are probably not starting a new foundation model company today. Be very doubtful if that were the case. I think, between OpenAI, Anthropic, Midjourney, the amount of dollars that have been sunk into the GPU cost to train these models, I am very doubtful that any new foundation model will make a main play. There are some open source models as well, so there's a little bit of an overlap in that situation. But it's pretty hard to imagine that you could pitch a VC a new foundation model type and get funding for it. If you do, let me know. Would love to update the slides. Okay. So with that in mind, I just wanted to kind of close off with a quote from Kyle Harrison at Contrary Capital. Whenever we talk about fundraising, product ideas, I really love the way Kyle talks about it, because this is actually a quote that's not even about AI. It's just about raising venture capital in general and building companies. So I'll read it to you. There aren't enough startups to justify all that capital. But why is that? Because 1, there aren't enough people building things that people truly want. And 2, there's only so much attention, time, energy, disposable income, corporate spend that people have to give. There is a finite amount of taste in the world. A lot of brands have thrived because they are surprisingly big niche markets like mushroom foraging that can sustain a certain amount of value creation and capture. But the biggest misallocation of capital is the limited understanding of taste. What do people actually want? So I just kind of ran through like 4 different market strategies for different products that you can build in AI, gave you some ideas of what people have been building in AI. But at the end of the day, what we really have to remember is that you need to build things that people want. And the fact that you can now use AI to do it, doesn't actually mean anything more. You still have to find out what it is, what is that taste? Because AI is a tool like anything else, and it will help you build something that maybe was not possible for people to want before, but you still have to find out what that want is. So shout out to Kyle. That quote is from his Substack, so subscribe to his Substack. And thanks for playing with me on my video game themed LLM Valley. You can find me on some of these socials. Thank you so much. I'm gonna throw it back. Am I allowed to throw it back? Will you take it? Oh, nice.
No, we're just gonna leave you here to host this thing now. It's all you.
They abandoned me. They left.
Yeah. I heard you are on the West Coast, and over here it's pretty late. So have your fun. Take it over. We're gonna give it back to you. That was the most original slide deck that I've seen in a while. So thank you, Lilly. And I heard you say something about mushrooms or something. I'm gonna share my screen real fast. I think you might enjoy this, because it's the shirt we made for the conference. You hopefully can see it right now. It's just letting everybody know what my favorite pastime is. And I appreciate you coming, Lilly. I don't know if you're still around or if you left. I can't hear you anymore, but
I am totally listening and thinking about your shirt. Buy that shirt. Get that shirt, everybody.
There it is. There it is. We are dropping the link in the chat and really appreciate it. Lilly, talk to you later.